So we're going to do that and that.
I'm doing something I never done before. Gonna do it this time, ain't gonna do it no more. My alley boogie, only thing I choose. The only thing I do to drive away my blues. I boogied all night and the night before. When I woke up this morning, I wanted to boogie some more. My alley boogie, only thing I crave. I can do my alley boogie in so many different ways.
Cairo is my baby's home. Cairo is my baby's home. One bite Cairo night won't be long. Women in Cairo, they will treat you kind and sweet. Women in Cairo, they will treat you kind and sweet. Catch you riding and take you off your feet. Shoot you and knock you, teach you and cut you too. Shoot you and knock you, teach you and cut you too. They get through the graveyard, then for you. Cairo, babe. Cairo, babe. Women in Cairo send you down to your grave.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another weekly live stream devoted to you guys, to slide guitar, to fingerpick guitar, to open tunings, mostly slide playing, but I'll be working with lots of other stuff as well. All right. Hello, Jonas. Great to see you. I've had some technical issues, so I will need to try something out just for a second, and then we'll see if we're all just as I thought. This one is going crazy a little bit. So let's. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're fine. So, how you doing? I'm expecting a couple more people to come, definitely, because they promised. They emailed me and said, hey man, I want to watch this live stream about the set lists and everything. So I hope they'll show up by the time I'm going to be doing that. So I'm in the middle of preparations for the Almo Blues Festival here in Sweden, which is one of the best festivals in this country, definitely one of the two biggest and greatest. It's celebrating 20 years this year, so it's going to be great to be a part of that. And thinking about the festival and about this live stream, I said, well, why not just telling you guys how I do my set lists and how I maybe humbly can recommend people who are about to play live somewhere. And it really doesn't matter if this is going to be in a private party or if you're going to be busking and everything. People think that buskers just play whatever comes to their mind and just sit there and play. No, I believe that most of them want to attract people and are very observant of what's happening around them, what kind of people are coming around, who's stopping, why did they stop, which song they played when they stopped and started listening, and how you keep those people and how do you make them give you some tips. And it's the very same on the festivals when you don't play on the largest scenes. If you play in a restaurant where people come and go, there are loads of different scenarios and setups on festival especially. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that as well. Good. Hello, Gaia. As I usually say, Norwegian attack. That's okay, we got one Swedish attack and one Norwegian. Alright, why don't we just start off with the welcome song, as I usually do. Today, I'm going to be playing something that I kind of used to play so many times, I guess everywhere, before basically everybody else started to play this, and this way. So I'm going to play you Roll On Buddy, or 90-Pound Hammer, that song is usually called. This is a mixture of maybe mostly influenced by Doc Watson, and then I threw in some of my rhythmical stuff that I came up with over the years. So let's go and roll on, buddy. Buddy, put a load of coal, just hiking out pull. When the wheels won't roll, it's a long way to Harlem, long way to Hazard, just a little brew, just to get a little brew. Roll on, buddy, put a load of coal, just hiking out pull. When the wheels won't roll, it's a 90-pound hammer. Kill John Henry, ain't gonna kill me, no it won't kill me. 90-pound hammer, don't kill John Henry, run like silver, and it shine like gold. Roll on, buddy, put a load of coal, just how can I pull, when the wheels won't roll. Take this hammer and and carry to the captain. Go tell him I'm gone. You can tell him I'm gone. And if he asks you where I've down gone to, tell him you don't know, buddy, you don't know. So roll on, buddy, put a load of coal. Just how can I pull when the waves won't roll? Roll on, buddy, with a load of coal. Just how can I pull when the waves won't roll? Well, how can I pull when the waves won't roll? How can I pull when the waves won't roll? Roll on, buddy. Yeah, I enjoy playing that. It's a great song. So let's just go on, and I'll tell you about the theme for today. But first, of course, we're going to do the backup. So if you have your guitars, grab them now and play with me. We're going to do the usual standard, as we always do, slow blues in E, again and again and again. You know, repeating is the mother of learning. That's it. It was a bad translation from the Latin, but I don't want to flash with Latin here. So, slow blues in E. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, and turn around. standard blues back up. I just threw in, I think, 2 a little bit new licks or turnarounds. In one of the turnarounds, I changed the regular one, which goes. And this could be done with or alternating the other way around. Especially if you're playing with somebody else and they're using maybe the similar, so just change the order of strings picked and it's going to be just great. But here in one of the turnarounds, I did this. So this last part is easy because I've shown you this before, but this first one is, I first picked this, which is E7 basically, because the 7th note is now on the 5th string on the 5th fret, which is a note D, and that's the 7th in E chord, and that's the same note as we have in this one. It's just 2 octaves lower. It's just here. No, one octave lower, sorry. But we grab this, and then, which is basically A, with the 3rd on the 5th string. So it's, I'm pressing the 3rd string on the 2nd fret and the 5th string on the 4th. And then I press the 3rd fret on the 5th string and open G string. And the 1st string as well, just like a droning note. And then I just end on E. So when I change here, so very slowly, this lick, turn around, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So the thing is that I kind of emphasize the bass notes, and I would maybe even play this without the droning 1st string. Maybe I would just do it. And then I would just throw in this note, maybe not this harsh because I just picked it too hard. Sorry about that. So that will be that backup. Let's see. Do let me know if the audio is okay, because I've switched the microphones a little bit and I'm just kind of wondering if everything is okay. Kansas City Blues type of slow finger picking. Let's try to do that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the usual stuff, and maybe I threw in this and so on. So this was actually roll from C sharp 7 to C7 to B7, but only thinking of picking the big bass. So in these forms, I just pick the 4th, 3rd, and the 1st string. I jump over the 2nd string and the 5th. So you got this. So even if I pick all 6 strings with this strumming, I'm damping those notes. I'm damping the 2nd string with this ring finger here. And then I got the 4th string ready, pressed on the 3rd fret, and then I'm dampening the 5th string with my middle finger here, which is on the 4th fret, 6th string, and then the 5th is dampened, which means that I can brush this like, and then only the E chord is with all strings included, which gives you a little bit of extra dynamics. And this doesn't crave too much technical skill. A little bit of practicing when you think of, okay, if I grab the clean, let's say B chord here, if I move it to C, there's one note that's dissonant, which is the 2nd string open in this case. So it's so easy to just angle this finger here a little bit downwards while still pressing on the 3rd string, and you got that string dampened. And then you need to move your middle finger on the 6th string, and this is almost happening naturally that you're gonna dampen the 5th string. There are people with larger hands who can press 2 strings at the same time, like, but it hurts here. So maybe if I had an electric guitar or a guitar with a much narrower neck, I would maybe do it. But actually I want that big bass. So it means to be aware of exactly which string you're picking with your right hand, or if you're strumming, how you're strumming. And I guess you've noticed by now that I'm playing with a thumb pick. This first part of the live stream, I'm going to take it off because I really don't need it to play here at home in my home studio. It's enough with just my thumb. But at the same time, when I'm playing live, I'm definitely going to use it, because this pressure of playing guitar with a pickup and going out, when I start really rolling and playing those shuffles and everything, I'm more energetic than maybe when I'm playing here. I'm playing more kind of with more expression, and I'm kind of tensed. And when I'm tensed, I get to kind of use too much muscles in my hand, and my thumb just goes dead after 3-4 songs maybe. But if I use the thumb pick, I can relax and get those kind of 2 or 3 sound colors that I call them when I play through a pickup. It's totally different thing. Maybe I will do a live stream dedicated just to playing with a pickup, and then I might connect everything as I do when I play live through my pedal board, maybe even showing you exactly what I'm doing, and then plug it into the computer and just show you how that sounds with the pickup, because that would explain a lot of things. So as I explained before, when I play without the thumb pick, I have these colors that are like more dampened. Then if I angle this way, I can dampen behind the saddle here on the bridge, right? I dampen only the basses, but then these three strings are kind of clear and open, so I can only dampen the basses. I can do that with the thumb pick as well, of course. But with the thumb pick, if I want to do that, I have only kind of maybe one color or one angle I can pick it. With the thumb here, I can maybe angle it like this, or play more with my nail, right? And then totally very harsh. And this sounds a bit smoother than if I play with the thumb pick. It's much more pressure on with the thumb pick, of course. So it depends on the occasion. Maybe sometimes I would even take it off when playing live, if I'm playing a slow song, or if I'm playing something that's very, very delicate, then I might take it out there as well. But using a pickup, it's like it's giving you more basses. I like this big bassy boomy sound when I play solo because I'm solo. I don't have a bass player, no drums, nothing behind me. I'm solo, so I like that big bass. So if I play the bassy sound, and then use only my thumb, this is going to be very boomy, very bassy. So I need to adjust for that, maybe on my amplifier or throughout the whole audio chain. But as I'm set up now on my pedal board and playing live amplified, then this is still bassy but with a little bit of punch. Okay, let's not talk about that too much. Good. So today's theme is how to make set lists for the gigs. Let's not in my title for today I wrote festival, great festival set lists. And when I say festivals, the fact is that there are so many different festivals and contexts within festivals. If the festivals are, let's say, specialized in one music style, it's blues festivals, jazz festivals, that's very specific, and of course you're going to play that kind of music or anything related to that. I would play blues on a jazz festival, definitely. On a blues festival, I might throw in some nice jazzy harmonies sometimes, but basically I'm there within. But if I would play a city festival somewhere, and if I'm all-round musician who maybe wants to play a little bit of everything, then it's a totally different approach to how I'm supposed to create a set list for that. When then it's also dependent on what kind of act you are. If you play, let's say, blues only, let's maybe concentrate on how I see it quite often on blues festivals. There are bands who are very niched, which means they play maybe only Chicago blues style or West Coast kind of jumpy blues style, and they are in a way trapped in that style, which means if you maybe have this whole setup, if you're dressed like, you know, Chicago blues guys, if you have that kind of background in your playing, in your singing and all that, then the set list is both easy to make and very difficult. Easy because you know you're gonna play some Chicago blues standards, you're gonna play a lot of Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, you're gonna do some shuffles, which can be fast shuffles, moderate shuffles, slow blues. You can have maybe one of these 1, 2, 3, and 4, where the bass would play boom, 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 boom. Smokestack Lighting or similar songs. And within those kind of grooves in Chicago blues, you need to assemble a set list that would be interesting to listen to, that you don't repeat yourself. Let's say nobody would play 2 shuffles in a row. Maybe if they're totally really different in the key, in the speed, or maybe if the singers are switching somehow, yeah, of course, it's possible to do. But I usually don't see those niched bands do like that. They usually change the grooves. Initially, you would start off with something really effective. And there's one misconception that I've met when I talk to both musicians, maybe not pros. Pros have been through this many times before, and they usually really know what to do. And they make their choices, and that's it. But maybe musicians who are not that experienced and who are very excited about coming to a festival, they come somewhere and see like, oh, it's only kind of 20 people in the audience, and this is a room for 150. And there's a, oh, okay, I'm gonna save my best song until people come, which is, yeah, I'm not sure. I used to do that, but there's this risk that, okay, if you start off with like, okay, I'll play something slow or maybe kind of moderate before people come, just like a warm up or whatever. Sometimes I've even heard musicians say in the beginning of this kind of situation, okay, let me warm up a little bit and we'll wait for some more people to come. You're immediately showing disrespect for those who are there. So it's like, maybe I wouldn't blindly follow my set list that I created for that festival or for that particular gig or set, but I would maybe take the same groove that I have in my maybe best song or the song that I consider to be my best. So which is your best song? Is it the one where you feel that you're really showing the best side of your playing, singing, the best groove, you got this really punchy performance there? Or is it the song that people mostly react well to? I have a couple of songs in my program that I'm kind of surprised. Why would people think this is so cool when I myself think it's okay, but it's nothing really wow. And on the other hand, I have some things where I think I found some really great licks. Nobody reacts to that. Maybe a colleague, musician, a pro, would tell me later on in the backstage if they would listen to that at all. But maybe they would notice, like, oh, well, that was a nice lick over there, or oh, I see how you do those, dynamics things and all. Yeah, but not the audience. Audience usually react to a great groove. On a blues festival, it's very common that people really know the songs you're playing, because especially when it comes to acoustic blues, there are some 20, 25, 30 songs maybe that basically everybody who plays acoustic blues would want to play, because it's kind of just like jazz standards. Some songs you just need to know how to play. And the audience on a blues festival would know exactly how the song goes in the original. So it's a big challenge to do something new, something fresh. And if you try to copy the original, then you either need to be really, really good at that. But I think that the times have come when nobody's really expecting anybody to play note for note how, let's say, Robert Johnson played or Muddy Waters played. And I have a couple of kind of tales there, especially when I play Walking Blues by Muddy Waters, when I know that I'm really copying Muddy here, but then I'm not trying to sing like him, and I usually get out of that recognizable pattern maybe after half of the song, after kind of putting the cupboard where it needs to stay, as they say in Sweden. So She Just Starts with Your Best Song. I would really recommend that. Just watch all the great bands with loads of hits. If they come to a large hall and they play for like 10, 15, 20,000 people, they would start off with their greatest hit. Just to, put everything into rhythm, to put everything into the right mood and to remind everybody. Those who love that band would love to hear it again. Maybe some new people in the audience will recognize it because of that or whatever. But I would always recommend to start a set with at least 2 of the best songs that you have. Of course, if you can play those 30, 40, 50 songs that I maybe needed if you want to play a 2-set or a 3-set gig, depending on how you're booked and what's the deal about the whole thing, then you definitely have at least 10 really good songs where maybe 5 or 6 are killers. So do the first 2 in the beginning and save the 2 for the end, and maybe one more killer as something in reserve for the encore maybe. And I mean, if you play your best song in the beginning and then people really loved it, maybe you'll have the chance to play it again, especially if, okay, I'll tell you, on this festival that I'm going to in July, Alma Blues Festival, I'm going to be playing in the street. So my first gig is going to be 2 sets on the street blues, as it's called, and on the other day of the festival, I'll play in a closed venue where people are going to be sitting and listening. At the same time, they're not going to be only listening to me, because in the same room there's going to be an exhibition of photographs and some merch sales and all that. So in neither of these I'm going to be having the full attention of the audience. And it's not only me, it's like, I don't know, 5 people are booked for this street blues and maybe 5, 6 acts for this other indoor event. So it's like, okay, that's the deal with this festival. Then there is also the big festival stage where the bands are going to be playing, and that's a totally different thing. So basically, if you play in the street, maybe this can be compared to busking. People are going to be passing by. Some of those are going to know that, oh, it's a blues festival, we're a part of this, and this is a part of the blues festival, great. But not all of them are going to be blues lovers. They're going to be tourists, locals who maybe are tired of this blues festival for 20 years. I don't know. But, I mean, that's it. So, I have 2 sets there. Unfortunately, I have only a couple of CDs to sell, so I don't have a kind of merch part of the whole thing that I think, okay, let's do something from this record and that record, and maybe it will make people buy them and all that. I just don't have any more physical copies of my CDs. Everything is online now. So people are going to be passing by, which means either I'm going to be doing my thing, and no matter what people do, I just do my 2 sets, and that's it. That's one attitude, which can be highly professional. You're going to do a great job. You're going to, play your best music. That's it. But if you want this interaction with people, then there is this pattern that I came up with, I think around 10, 12 years ago maybe, and I've been playing since 1983, professionally, with bands, with my blues trio, Pedajo, my mouth harmonica player from Serbia, and we've gone through all kinds of contexts, all kinds of gigs, restaurants, pubs, pizzerias, playing in the streets, festivals, big stages, small stages. We've done it all. And with that act, let's say, and maybe one other that I used to play with regularly, we had kind of fixed sets of, let's say, 2 sets. Usually we play 2 sets. And no matter how many times we play the same songs, we would always try to make the set lists just maybe an hour prior to the gig. And the reason for that is if you have your set list like 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, and you're done, and you just do the same thing all over again, it's going to become a habit. And I'm not sure it's going to be that exciting to do, which maybe will reflect on how expressive you are on the scene and all that. we wanted to improvise and to sense the whole vibe of the place. Sometimes it also depends if the organizers of a festival maybe or an event, they put, oh, we'll make this acoustic scene over there and we're going to just put all acoustic acts over there. Danger, danger, red alert, because there's a risk that many of them are going to be playing the same songs. If it's a blues festival, if it's very niched and all that, right? That's where we are. So if there are like 3 acts before us playing, then we'll be ready to see, okay, what did they play? If they played one of the songs that we thought about playing, then we're not going to be doing those songs. Let's pick some new ones right away. And since we played together, since 1983, we became really fast at just coming up with ideas for songs. Oh, let's skip that. We'll do this one instead. Okay, good. Another thing to think about, if you're one of the acts on the same stage, if the band before you or the act before you just finished off and they had some really great success, people loved them, they asked for an extra song, they did that, and they're still clapping their hands, and that last song was like really fast and effective and all that. I've seen many musicians do this, I'd call it a mistake, to try to hang on that vibe. They think that, oh, I need to play just as effective, just as fast as these guys were doing, and otherwise people won't like me, people will leave and all that. Not necessarily so. I usually kind of go totally the opposite. If they finished off with a very fast song, I would start with something moderately fast, moderately effective. Maybe I'll just kind of help the people to forget the act before. And it doesn't matter if we're coming on the stage right after them, or if there's a changeover, like 5 or 10 minutes sometimes, line check, which is when you don't do a sound check, but just check if everything is working, which means you've done your sound check before, several hours before the whole thing started, and then the line check is only to make sure when you plug in, the amplifier is on, all the chains are okay, when you have your stuff connected, so you know, okay, when I start playing, everything's going to work. That's line check. So depending on how long this break is between the acts, then I might consider playing this or that song, which means the set list, those first 2-3 songs, might be changed. Although maybe I would have something on the paper. Just like I wrote some notes prior to this, although I had notes in my computer, but to be honest, 10 minutes before the live stream, I just, I shouldn't forget to say this and that. And then I just, okay, pen and paper, the best. So that's one of the things to think about when it comes to modifying your set list that you maybe meticulously created hours before or days before this event, and then all of a sudden this band before you made people just go wild and say, okay, what should I do? At the same time, I've also seen acts who really make people go wild, and they play an anchor and they do a fast song again, and then people want another song, and then they would usually play something easy because they know, oh, there's a schedule here, I shouldn't be playing too long. Maybe the agent is showing like it's okay, we don't have to play more. And maybe then they would finish off with something maybe slower. And then people would realize, okay, it's the end. And they would enjoy that last song. They'll have a nice applause, and that's it. In that case, I would definitely start with something really catchy, like I'm Ready. Because let's say, if you would maybe imagine now, let me see if I can go back just for a second. If somebody would play a slow song, which ends up like a... and then the applause come, and the people kind of relax and say, okay, now we're going, all right, and then the announcer comes on the stage and say, all right guys, this was this and that band, and thank you very much, it's been great, and now we got Homesick Mac here, join us, and he will start off in a minute or two, so let's welcome him, ladies and gentlemen, right? And they give you a round of applause. That's great. I would maybe start in that situation as soon as I've done my line check, which also a little bit of specialty. I never do the line check with the same key or the same chord as I'm going to be starting the first song with. So I wouldn't do it in A and then start playing in E. Sorry, E. I would maybe do something in, let's say, D or A. All right. And then I would give it a 10 or 20 seconds just to kind of say, hi everybody, how you doing? Let's say give this band who played before me a round of applause. It was a great gig. Thank you guys. Right? Everybody clapping their hands. And then everybody's expecting you to start. And then I'm ready. They ended up with a slow song, another key. I have a song ready in E, and then I would just go on with I'm Ready by Willie Dixon, Muddy Waters, which would go in this intro. And so on and so on, which means you're giving it a big bass there. You get this kind of you're kind of telling them what rhythm it's going to be, what groove is going to be, so everybody knows that. And I promise you, at least some of them are going to be either stomping their foot like a toom, 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 or clapping their hands, and you're ready to go. That's it. So that's one thing to think about and to be very careful with. Which song to start with and how to play it. And then there's also this, if you played one shuffle, then the next song needs to be something else, maybe just as lively. And some people think that, oh, you should change the key, play something else in another key, whatever. But if I get the great reaction on, let's say, I'm Ready, I would continue playing in E, one more song. And then it would be like after the shuffle, so I'm ready for you and I hope you're ready for me. I ain't ready, and I'm finished with that song. I finish it in round of applause, and while they're still clapping their hands, I would go. And so on. So that would be a totally different groove in the same key. They have that first song still ringing in their heads, and this comes now, and that's it. So I grab them and I keep them the attention with this song as well. But then the third song, that can then be something slower, and then I would definitely change the key. So either I would do something ragtimey, like so just listen to this groove. And after that, this rhythm. It's totally different groove. It's from another era of blues. It's like we're going like 25 years back from Chicago blues. And there are situations where this would work, but in some others, maybe not. Maybe I would just go to play some slow blues in A, like a... Gotta find my baby. I declare I wouldn't lie. And so on. So it will still be very punchy, but you changed the key and you did that. And maybe after this one, I would be able to maybe play this ragtimey stuff, or I would maybe put the capo and just change the whole sound picture, because if you play as a solo musician, and especially within blues, I like so much playing in E and A, and then some break times in C and all that, but that can be not boring, but I want to kind of freshen up the whole thing within a 45-minute set maybe. So I would either change the guitar and take something in open tunings, and then if I take the open, let's say if I would play this slow blues in A and then I would change into open G tuning, I can might as well play a good shuffle like I've Been Framed, or I Can't Hold Out by M.O. James, and that would sound a little bit with a higher pitch. It's a different kind of shuffle compared to I'm Ready, but that was 3 songs ago. So let's say 3 songs in between, you can play a shuffle again if it's very different. So this is, now we're coming to this question of, okay, if I had to improvise this kind of set list, how did I do it? Where did I write it down? Of course, pen and paper. You can always have a pen and paper. I've seen people using iPads or any tablet for that. To just have it with them and just scribble on them, and they're ready. My kind of recipe for surprises and to be ready for all kinds of situations is that I started creating set lists, which are basically not the set lists in the order of songs that I'm going to be playing. It's the set list that looks like a, let's say if you would write it on a paper, which I can actually show you here. Let's see. I'll take my guitar down. So let me know in the chat if this is okay. If it's too boring, I'll stop talking. I'll just start playing something. I don't know. So if I would show you this is how I would do this, either on paper, piece of paper, regular letter size paper, or A4 as we call it here in Europe, and I would just write down songs that are shuffles. So if I would let's say I'll go here and say shuffles, okay, Gasline Blues, what's shuffle, That's All Right, That's All Right, I'm Ready, Wholesale Leader, and so on and so on. I could make this list much longer. So all shuffles would be gathered here. Let's say jumpy songs, Custard Pie, This Train, Hooray, Hooray, This Woman Is Killing Me, and so on. Slow songs, let's see, Sitting on Top of the World, Deep Prairie Blues is a moderate kind of, Kansas City Blues, definitely. Open D, I mean, you get the picture, I don't need to write them down. So this way, I would maybe have this paper in front of me on the stage, and then I would just choose one of the grooves. So if I play I'm Ready, and then I play some slow blues, the one I started before, then I maybe would go to something in open G, then I would play something jumpy. I just jump from this to Hooray, Hooray, This Woman Is Killing Me. After that, I'll play like one shuffle, one slow song, song in open G, which doesn't have to be shuffle again, it could be something else. Then I go to this jumpy song, and then I can go back to play another shuffle. Let's say, well, okay, Wholesale Leader. It depends on the song, it depends on, sometimes it even depends on if I see that the audience is listening to my lyrics. Sometimes they just don't care. They love the groove, they love the way you play. Sometimes they just watch your hands when you're playing. Maybe that's the most interesting thing. But if they're listening to my lyrics, if I see that they get the story, because I usually choose the songs to play that have either a good message, maybe some lyrics are deeper than others, maybe some are just like a love song, maybe some lyrics might be political. If you play some Big Bill Brunsey songs, they're very much about the racism of that time that he was writing songs against. And it depends. So if I know that if I notice that people are listening, then on one of these songs that I would know that, okay, Gasline Blues, that song is telling a story about the crisis when people couldn't get the gasoline, and then sooner or later everybody going to get to a wagon and a horse in this country that's gone on a bad course. It's a Louisiana Red song. I love it. I just love it. So if I notice that people are listening, then I would choose maybe that shuffle as a second shuffle after I'm ready, with a couple of songs in between. So that's another aspect of how I maybe would like to do it. So I'm going to go a little bit back in time, and I'll show you something as I did it before. Let's say this is a set list from, I think, 1985 or 6 or something, when I played with my harmonica player in, varying contexts. It can be a restaurant, it can be a boat restaurant, it can be a tourist place, it can be playing in the street, it can be anything. So we had a very broad program of songs with of all styles and kinds. So if you watch closely there, you can see something that's definitely not blues. But hey, I don't really love only blues, and I'm not a pure blues player every time. I started my career by listening to both Beatles and Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel, Bill Withers, Temptations, Allman Brothers Band, I don't know, loads of bands from all kinds of different musical styles. You don't want to know how much I love Led Zeppelin, for example. So it's like, okay, which of those songs maybe I could do a version of and then incorporate into this gig where I know that people are not the blues audience. So instead of being a nosy, picky musician who just thinks he's a victim of, oh, look where they put me to play and I'm the greatest player within blues and I have to play these restaurant gigs and all that. No, it depends. If you really want to play only one style, then you really need to search the venues and places and contexts where you're allowed to play that and where you're able to play that. I kind of wanted to entertain people, and sometimes I find the bigger challenge to play in a restaurant and maybe not educate, but kind of influence people to listen to this kind of music that I really love by playing a couple of songs that are familiar to them, and then throw in a couple of bluesy songs and then explain a little bit of the background and do it with a purpose and with a reason. And trust me, even if people like techno and all kinds of stuff, they will recognize if you're good at something. They will recognize it. Oh, okay, so actually this is what this guy is doing, but he's nice because he's playing a little bit of everything, and you get the point. It's different from being a cover artist. There are cover bands that are absolutely amazing. They kind of play note for note as their favorite bands are playing, and there are these tribute bands that only play one act and that's it, like Beatles covers and even Led Zeppelin covers. There's a great band here in Sweden who do that as a tribute to them. They're amazing. Just close your eyes and damn, it's the same. But if you play at the smaller venue and you have a program that's really, really wide and you play a little bit of everything, and usually there's a risk that you will pick some good stuff and learn to play some good stuff, a little bit of everything, but you would definitely need to have a little bit of depth within at least one or two of those styles. So I kind of believe that I have this depth and dedication when it comes to blues and early country, which leads me to another point. That is, okay, maybe I shouldn't be having this on my, maybe I could just tell you about it. So it's, when you play acoustic blues nowadays, there's a big risk that, or is it a risk or not? When you listen to old masters, they don't switch styles, they don't switch grooves too much. If you listen to Lonnie Johnson, in a large percentage of his songs, you will see the same key, same licks all over again. He would maybe change lyrics, a little bit of a groove, faster, slower, but that's it. That's the box that he invented. He's the best at that, and that's what he's doing. And he didn't have to change anything of that. Let me show you. So Lonnie Johnson, just a couple of licks. Too late to cry, baby. Your last chance is gone. Too late to cry, baby, and so on. So this lick, or I think this is the first time I've heard somebody use this bass with like a D sharp and D. Right? I was so fascinated by that. And then this kind of turnaround, you have the G, G7, and then you have a C7, and then the C minor, and then G, a little bit faster. So how Lonnie Johnson played this one is that he would just jump over the chord shapes, and then he would use that G, pure genius, just amazing. So he did the lick, ended up with a C minor, and then back to G, and then go on with the song. And you listen to Lonnie Johnson, just look him up on Spotify and play a playlist with Lonnie Johnson songs. You will see this very, very, very often. This same lick, which means you listen to Bucka White, very special groove. That's what he does. Maybe 2, 3 grooves, and that's it. So musicians nowadays wouldn't be able to succeed. I believe that. That's my kind of honest and humble opinion, that I believe that we need to switch. We need to show and present several different styles within this old-timey music that is like blues, jazz, ragtime, some folk music, and we come to this, when I mentioned before, country, which was actually called hillbilly in the beginning, in the 20s and 30s, and then it evolved into folk music, country, and then bluegrass in the late 30s, when Bill Monroe came and several other artists and bands. So if I would, let's say, play on a place that has a very mixed audience of all kinds of, genders, ages, you see, it's so mixed that it's crazy. So, okay, not only blues, maybe I would start off with a couple of blues songs just to show, okay, this is my thing. But then I would go on doing maybe something else. And then I would definitely have this advantage of, okay, I would stay within Americana, as we call it, which is everything from blues, jazz, Cajun, New Orleans, you name it. So all these styles can be played on a very kind of mixed audience gig. It's very nice. So I can play some early hillbilly stuff like New River Train, and I could take some Delmo Brothers songs, Way Downtown by Doc Watson, they're really catchy. They have great lyrics. And if I even notice that people are listening to the lyrics, it's like, whoa, I'm home. This is great. So that's that. Let me see in my notes. Yes, dependent on, let's say if you're playing a festival, there will be other acts on a festival. Be aware of who's playing before you or after you, because you can always freshen up by inviting people to join you, to sit in. It's called to sit in on somebody's gig. So if you know that another acoustic artist is going to be playing maybe the day after, or maybe they've played a couple of sets before you played, maybe you can be kind of strategic and just reach out prior to the festival. Say, hey man, I see you're playing here and there. Maybe we could do something together. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, 95% of people will say yes. I actually had a couple of rejections. Why? I don't know. I don't care. But those who really joined me, it was a blast. It was fantastic. So that can also freshen up a set list. Then you also need to have a couple of songs ready for situations like that. Or if I play and I would see a musician colleague just passing by and they maybe just didn't look at the program, they don't know I'm playing, they just see me there, they go, oh, there's Mac, hey man, how you doing? And then I would just say, hey, join me. I got like 3 guitars with me. If they're harmonica players, they definitely have their harmonicas with them. I haven't met a harmonica player, especially playing on a festival, who doesn't have his instruments with him all the time. We guitar players tend to maybe grab one of the guitars and just go with them around the place, maybe. But harmonica players, they got them. So that's also an opportunity. And then while they're maybe approaching me, say, yeah, sure, why not, whatever. Directly reaching out and just looking at my set list. Okay, I got maybe 3 or 4 songs ready for the jamming. Because in my big list of songs, every song that I have in this, it's not a set list, it's just a list of songs. I've showed you this in a couple of streams ago when I showed my Notion planning system, and maybe I'll show it here in a couple of seconds, because I'll be showing you something else about this with set lists. And in this list of songs, I have these categories that this song is good for jamming, maybe with sometimes very special people. I know that if I meet Keith Dunn, let's say Keith Dunn is going to play on Almo Blues Festival, I'm not sure if he's going to be there on the day that I'm playing, but I'll reach out to him definitely. I'd love to jam, and I know exactly which 2 songs I'd love to play with him, so those songs are going to be ready. As well as my guest that I really wish to bring in a week prior to the Almo Blues Festival, Bert Divert, an American blues musician who's living in Sweden, and I know he's playing on the festival, so we'll definitely be doing something together, and I'd love to have him live on the live stream, and just to talk about his background and present him, and then just arrange for a good jam session on the festival. A lot of things when it comes to set lists and what I'm going to be playing is also dependent on the hardware. What's the stage like? When I'm going to be ending up in or with. If it's a small festival, if it's a small stage, no big PA, maybe it's a very small stage, maybe it's not even a stage, maybe I won't take like 4 guitars with me. And there's also this aspect of sometimes it's an overkill to take many guitars with you if you're kind of just playing here or there. I mean, we're not David Lindley who can easily take 12 guitars on a gig. I mean, there's a reason, there's a background for that. But I usually tend to plan prior to the festival. I know when I'm going to be standing, or I know that while I'm playing in the street, there are going to be a lot of people walking around, so maybe I'll just bring 2, maybe 3 guitars. But for this second gig on this festival, it's going to be on a big stage. I'm going to be alone. I have all the space in the world I need. Definitely 4 or maybe 5 guitars. So I take with me 5 guitars, and then I choose which to bring on stage and play for the people. It's also dependent. Some songs I'll need a pedal board to be able to play them really well, because maybe sometimes I would use octaver, maybe I would use some effects, not only just this usual reverb or hall effect. Maybe I would need a delay pedal. So do I have the space for that on the stage? Is the PA good or not? So all of these things can be. This gave me the idea for the next week's live stream, how to prepare your hardware for a gig. It can be a festival, it can be a club gig, whatever. How to take care of your equipment and what to bring for which occasion. Just got it now. Good. So there's also one more aspect of what I'm going to be playing and which instruments, and why maybe sometimes I would like to take more guitars than I would actually need. But I like to interact with people, and some people who maybe aren't that crazy with the blues and the things I'm playing, maybe they would like to talk about guitars. So if they see me playing like 4 guitars, and one of them is a metal shiny guitar, and the other one is just an acoustic, and the third guitar sounds really, really deep because it's a baritone, maybe in the break they would like to just, come forward and ask me some things about the guitars. And while we're doing that, I'll tell you, I've sold many CDs by just starting talking to people. I've recruited some people to be interested in my guitar retreat by meeting them on one of the gigs or workshops, especially when I worked with Michael Sandon, the guitar maker who built all my guitars, and we had mutual workshops in his workshop in Gothenburg, and let's say at least 10 people who were attending there and who knew Michael from that and saw me on the guitar show, they kind of thought it was, oh, this is cool. Oh, you started the retreat? Oh, I'll come. So there might be another reason to bring more than you actually need, but not to purely impress for the impression's sake, but to kind of inspire people to get interested in what you're doing. So let me show you now something else. So this would be this little, just give me a second, there are we. So let's say this is a set list that I used to have with Maria Stille from Malmö here in Sweden, and we have this duo called Delmore Sessions, where we mostly play songs by Delmore Brothers and some early hillbilly stuff, country. She's, let's say, fantastic at singing Dolly Parton songs, and we really enjoy playing together. So we made this little list of like, okay, which songs could we play? So this is a list. This is not a set list. Just okay, here are the songs. Not so many, and this is the first iteration of that. And I'm showing you this in Evernote, which is an app or program that I used to use a lot for at least 10 years. I paid the pro version of that, and I use it with everything I did. And that was before I discovered Notion in 2019. So I slowly just moved everything from Evernote to Notion because it's more versatile. It's much easier to connect things, and if I had the time I would maybe show you exactly how that with Maria would look in Notion now, which is much more complicated, some would call it, but yeah. So then I showed you this one with the this is the very first one from the 80s, right? And then this would be like this is my first attempt to make these this this is in my native language, Serbian, which is like a jumpy blues or jumpy stuff. So there are so many of that kind over there. So the walk is like shuffles. Then we have slow songs, and then we had fast songs, and we had some rags. This is just a part of the songs, but that's where this idea started of, okay, let's gather things of the same kind of groove and what I want to do. This one here is the second attempt to that. This was also just written on paper, just scanned. So I have this 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the frets where I have the capo for these songs. So basically, if I put my capo on the second fret, then I just can look at this piece of paper and just, okay, I'm already here. The guitar is in tune. And in those days, I didn't have this capo, the masterpiece of the G7th, which adapts to the radius of your neck on the guitar and presses the strings accordingly and evenly over the whole rounded fretboard. So it's like, okay, if I'm already on the second fret, let's see what else I can play there before I change or whatever. And at that time, I only had one guitar, which meant I'm going to be retuning this guitar. If I play in open D, all of a sudden after standard tuning, then I will have to play at least 3 or 4 songs in that open tuning, and then I would change to something else. That took time in between. That was that. And let's say this would be an example of a real set list that we did at this festival in 2011, and I've saved that in Evernote amongst many other of those very concrete set lists for many gigs that we did. So sometimes we just would go back and just, okay, what did we play here and what did we play there? So if we play the same festival like 3, 4, 5 times, or like I'm playing in Omo now for the 12th time since 1997 when I played there for the first time, it's like, okay, should I maybe change something and not play the same songs? So this was a set list for the gig where we had Keith Dunn as a special guest. So we started with I'm Ready. I just love starting with that song. If it's possible, if it's suitable, I'll do it. And then we got these songs, and then Keith would come up, play a song by himself, and then we would do a song together, and then he would just kind of leave, and or maybe would play a song, another song with him, and then we do another version of Who Do You Love, which is my kind of delay pedal version, and then we would just end the set with, let's say, these 2 main songs, and if there's an encore, we'll just play Dust My Broom as a big hit. And we knew that the audience in Belgrade would love to hear those songs, so we were quite confident that, okay, we can set the list that we just stick to, and that's what we're going to be playing. But nowadays I'm using Notion for this planning, and I have to admit that I still keep all my stuff in these big song lists and lists for ideas. I can show you that as well. Let me just check the time. Time has gone. I thought I would be finished within 1 hour. It's impossible. But okay, if you're still with me, I will just show you, let's say, these are preparations for Blues Week. This is a timeline of my projects, and this is what I'm working on now. And if I open that project, then you will see that I have these tasks that I connected to that. And here, from the database where I have my ideas for songs, I picked some of those to consider putting on my set list. And from the big song library, these are the songs that I'm definitely sure that I can play. I don't even have to think about the lyrics or anything else. They're set, they're there. This is just a part of that big list, and this is how I connect them, and it's also connected to the festival gigs or my gigs calendar, but there's also this set list that I created in my database that's called Setlists and Performing. So if I open this one, you will see that I have this kind of template that I'm using, and in this template, this is now populated because I'm preparing for the festival, so I've already filled in all this. But usually this is all empty. If I have a new gig, a new set list that I want to create, only these toggles are created, but everything else is ready to be filled in. So jumpy, slow songs, in open D, shuffles fast and slow, in open D, right? And this here is actually a toggle for let's say, to do. So maybe an idea is that I make these toggles for each of the songs, and if I maybe haven't played them, I might be able to kind of don't check them off. So I know that, okay, let's go through some old set lists and I see what I played, what I didn't play, and you can get a bigger picture of the whole thing. And yeah, that's how I do these things right now. But so if I would want to show you the project set list performing, this is this database where I'm going to be making these set lists. I have one from 2019. That was before the pandemic, when I was in Georgia. And this is the set list for the main part of the festival where I play with my harmonica player, and that's it. That's what we played. We knew exactly which songs. These two songs were for the extra number that we definitely knew we were going to be playing, and that's it. So that was kind of set even before we were leaving. And sometimes you can make your set list just really precisely, exactly, and sometimes you really need to improvise and maybe go from this kind of grooves gathering of everything. All right, let me show you this. If I go to my workspace and let's hide this one. If I go to, let's say, a big song library, this is a large list of lots of songs that I play. I have in my program in different ways. So let's say if I would take this song, Blue Stay Away From Me, here I have this little category of, okay, which acts could I play this song with? And I have my most common collaborations that I work with. So let's say okay, with the blues trio, I could play that with them, with the trio as well, with my harmonica player. And actually we did that when Peter Joe was in Sweden. So we played this together with Maria, and then with Swingin' Hayriders, which is Maria's band, who play Texas swing, and this would definitely suit in that style. So this is how I can see who I can play this song with. I can choose amongst many different styles, and I can also group all this. So I could connect this to some of the set lists, but I think it would be too granular. It would be too populated in a way. So I don't want to drag the songs from this big list into my set list, because it's going to be kind of too much interaction. So I'm not really sure if I want to do that. But Notion is a great tool. It really, really makes it possible to connect things. And then within this note about the song, I have maybe a recording of that, and I even have I think it's, yeah, exactly, it's a video from that performance we had at the Omo Festival in 2017, where I thought the solo that I played with on slide was fine. Like, okay, but I'm not sure this is gonna play the audio here. I'm not sure. Let's see, would it show for you? Would it or not? Come on, I'm forward. This should be okay. Why aren't you playing? Well, doesn't matter. But anyway, so Notion gives you this possibility to link to stuff, and to maybe open a song as a page, and then you only think about that song and plan what you want to do with it and all that. So yeah, but this is connected to projects, right? So all my projects are listed here, and I can connect this to any. Let's say if I would go into Omo, I could connect this to that from the song itself, but I can also bring it in from the project view in Notion. And then also I can connect my my ideas, or if I go back a couple of steps, so I go to the main Notion space, which is, let's say, this database with only ideas, and these are the songs that I want to arrange, and some of them are planned for either the Blues Week or for some of the festivals, and I want to, yeah, I don't know, some live streaming ideas. Here's a list of the songs that I'd like to do for the live streams. Yeah, so that's where Notion comes in. Guys, I'm really sorry I didn't have the time. I just kind of got stuck in this talking about the set lists, and yeah, it's going to be a long live stream. Yeah, Marta, I could even give you that link right now, since you're still with me here. If I just go to Blue, Stay Away From Me, there, I could just copy video URL, and then you got it there. Thank you, Eunice. You survived, man. This is an hour and a half. This is so much, you know, I'm craving too much of your guys' time and all that. I really need to be more structured, but that's my combination of letters. Either it's ADD or ADHD or something else, or I'm just easily distracted and I just get so many ideas all the time, and one thing leads to another, and that's how I do it. But I'll try to get more structured with these live streams and how I present things. Yeah. So I'll be more than happy if you join me next week, which is going to be on June 27th. And I think the one stream after that, I'm going to be bringing in Bert Divert. I do hope he's going to be available. And that's going to be a blast as well. Bert he's a great musician. He plays both guitar and mandolin and sings really well. So, and he's been doing lots of different stuff. He didn't play only blues or folk music as I did. He played some Irish folk music. He has CDs with people from other music styles, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So thanks so much for coming, and I really hope you'll join me next time. Let's part with, as usual, Sitting on Top of the World with me and Sam Mitchell, one of my absolute favorite songs that I ever played with him. So have a great rest of the day, evening, night, and I will see you next week. All the best, guys.
It was in spring, one sunny day, my sweetheart left me, Lord, she went away. Now she's gone, and I don't worry, but I'm sitting on top of the world. Things could call me up, down and out by soul. Said, come back, Daddy, Lord, I need you so. Now she's gone, and I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. like my peaches. Don't you shake my tree. Get out of my orchard. Let my peaches be. Now she's gone. I don't worry. But I'm sitting on top of the world. In spring, one sunny day, my sweetheart left me. Now she went away. Now she's gone. I don't worry. But I'm sitting on top of the world. Now she's gone. I don't worry. But I'm sitting on top